In the early 2000s, I wasn't really even, born, but there was a rerun of a show that would play on Disney Channel, and that was called Kim Possible. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it because it's an incredibly popular TV show, but I remember liking it. So, me being me, why not go revisit it with one of my friends, Reymond? I'm going to give a review on season 1 only, as I usually do, and maybe I'll come back for more, but there is a total of 21 episodes in season 1. We didn't find out a little later that these episodes were completely out of order and were in a broadcasting order. We were watching the broadcasting order, not the official order. So, for example, episode 3 might be episode 13, but because it's in broadcasting order, you can't really tell. So episodes are out of place. Still, I'm just going to be doing it in the way that we watched it. So, yeah, but this is a spoiler warning for every episode of season 1 of Kim Possible. There are 21 episodes, so if you want to go watch it, I recommend it, but let me get into why I recommend season 1 and why this show is way more ridiculous than I completely remember. First episode is called Crush. What to say about this episode? So basically, Dr. Draken is trying to steal this big robot because it's a big robot and stealing things is literally his whole shtick. And big robots are step 1 to take over the world. And Kim, our main protagonist, with our side characters Ron and Rufus, all go there to stop him. Now, for like an early 2000s Disney Channel animation show, this show has like really good animation from time to time. I mean, Kim going against the robot is really cool, and I definitely think this should be talked about more. I mean, seriously, I know I'm not going to be crediting the animation every time. We'll get to the when the animation looks like a 4-year-old did it, but but I guess I'll go over who Kim is. So Kim is this 14, maybe 15-year-old girl, it's never really confirmed, who is a spy and is really good at what she does. And she's not like a typical spy, because literally everybody knows her identity. It's kind of weird, and when I mean everybody, even her parents, the people at school, her teachers, the people in town, it's weird, okay? It's really weird how everybody knows who this person is and what she does. I feel like there's some danger involved with that, but nevertheless, you will see there is this common theme in these episodes, and again, for being an early 2000s kid show, Kim wins against Dr. Draken by hacking into the robot with her pal Wade, who is like the guy in the chair, and that's like pretty much it. And she is like the main person who she says, "What's the sitch?" to, which is her catchphrase. And we also watch the intro, which is fucking fire. And every time we watch an episode, me and Reymond would just sat there and listen to it because it's so good. They use the best parts of the animation, and the music goes so hard. It's just really good, and it's iconic for a reason. The soundtrack of this show is magnificent. Honestly, just listen to the soundtrack. It's so good. This episode has some pretty good jokes. Ron thinks that Dr. Draken is stealing this robot because he wants to steal Christmas, which is actually kind of funny.
Season! Draken's gonna steal Christmas!
And other times, jokes don't land, but I'll point them out when we get to those. This episode is just really good, and it's just a really fun watch, and not only do we see Kim and Ron's dynamic, which works well, honestly, but we also get introduced to my favorite character in the whole show, Shigo. Shigo is a well-known fan favorite, but I like Shigo because she's funny and she's just really cool, and not only that, every time Kim and Shigo fight, it's just a treat. Man, they fight really well together because they're pretty much on the same skill level, so they fight like who's actually gonna win, you don't know. I mean, you kind of know it's gonna be Kim, but like their skill level is the same, so you also don't. The choreography is always on point, and it's really good. It's just a really fun time every time these two are on screen, and anytime Kim fights any other villain, honestly, nothing could compare to her Shigo fighting. But yeah, for our first episode, this is good. I mean, it's a great introduction. Like I said, this is the broadcast order, but I mean, I feel like it establishes everything very nicely. Now, Dr. Draken is pretty much the main villain, and Kim is the spy, her parents, her siblings though, and Ron is the witty sidekick, and Rufus is another sidekick who is probably even more witty than Ron. It's just really good.
Oh, hey.
They just killed the thing if it was in there. Oh my god, it's
A
you.
naked mole rat. Ron, ever think about taking a
I knew
mole
you would say that. Oh, he's my favorite character now.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why she got a picture of Shigo?
Who does it?
Shigo on her door. What the
Because
fuck?
who doesn't? Everybody has a picture of
Oh
Shigo.
my
Yeah.
God.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa.
Why is that automated?
I just see Konnichiwa every time too.
Some crazy elbow into it.
Dr. Dragon.
Oh, it's the baddie.
Never sneak up on me like that.
Oh, it is the baddie. Even though I'm gay, she's still a baddie.
What do you mean by that?
What are their names? Do you remember the twins' name? I know one is Tim. I
No.
don't remember what the other one is.
They didn't even know they existed.
Getting anonymous emails from
You forgot?
Yep.
So this episode is more to show Ron's capabilities. Kim and her cheerleading group, along with Ron and Rufus, because Ron is the mascot for the school, are on their way to a cheerleading competition, but their tires get popped because they drive over a steel trap, which of itself is very weird and should be questioned way more. So they end up at this camp that Ron used to go to, but this camp is all sorts of fucked up. There's completely toxic water.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
Which, how is that allowed? Like, excuse me? Like, if this camp was real, we would be seeing Netflix documentaries about this thing. And we eventually find out that one of Ron's old peers, who used to swim in the lake a lot, called Gil, because, you know, originality, blames Ron for what happened to him. And he blames Ron because they switched schedules, because Ron obviously did not want to swim in that lake when he was there, which is, like, very fair. So Gil loved to swim, so he took that assignment for Ron. Again, the lake was extremely toxic, and it was filled with mutagen that turned Gil into this fish mutant. Now he wants to turn Ron into a mutant. So this is an episode where you see, like, the art is not very good at some points, but other points it's actually very aesthetically pleasing to look at. The shading on the characters look very good at some points, but then the backgrounds look really bad, and they look like that one wallpaper from The Sims. If Sims players will know what I'm talking about, but it looks really bad. And I know this is a kid's show, and obviously kids aren't going to look at the background and go, wow, how could they draw it like that? It's so bad. Kids probably won't even notice it.
Guys, what one is your favorite? Huggy Wuggy Seek, Scary Blue, Zumbo Sauce?
But I do think backgrounds are actually very important to building a scene, and sometimes the backgrounds are just not good. So it doesn't really fit the scene that well and what they're trying to portray. I think a good example of this is, for some reason, when I think of backgrounds, I think of Arcane's backgrounds a lot and how pretty they can be. I mean, some of the best cinematographies is because of the backgrounds in media, and backgrounds can convey a whole emotion to it. A lot of the backgrounds in this episode just don't really fit. I feel like if they just put a bit more efforts in the background, I feel a lot more scenes would be way more impactful. And I'm gonna cut it some slack, don't worry, it is a kid's show, I understand that, you know, just wish a little bit more effort on that side. Like I said, this episode is about Ron, so Ron takes down Gil by using the power of Rufus and capturing Gil, and to be honest, this just sum it down a little bit. I did like it, I thought it was funny, the jokes were pretty good, but it was just not very pleasing to look at a lot. Like I said, it did have its moments of aesthetically pleasing on the shading wise, but the story didn't make a lot of sense. But comedic wise, I think this episode has a lot going for it. A lot of plot holes, you know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh my god. Okay, can I ask a question? What color is the uniform?
See that?
Like blue
Poison
and
oak.
orange, right?
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. Don't tell him, Jimmy. Don't tell him, Jimmy. Let him have this. Let him have this. I think.
No, stop! Tell me, please. They have weed at this camp.
Colorblind, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. Wait, you're actually colorblind.
The uniforms are like blue and orange with like some red on it. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I'm gonna leave.
Totally, man. Yeah. Oh no, you're right. You're right.
Look, how do I know?
Alright, episode 3. Now this is the episode that I wanted to talk about, and it's not for the reasons that you might think. So this episode is called The New Ron. So there are these new supervillains that pop up. It's Junior, and I think Senior. They're two supervillains that are reoccurring, and they just want to own everything because they're very rich. But in this episode, they're using so much power that it's going to shut off the entire world's power. So Kim goes there to tell them to stop, but they obviously do not care and just continue to try and use as much power as possible. So eventually Kim's come back to stop them after she realizes that they do not care, and she starts flying, trying to dodge these lasers. And I'm not just saying like she's gliding. No, she is flying. Here is the clip. You can tell me whether or not she's flying. Yes, me and Reymond are laughing our asses off because this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, at least regarded to animation.
Why does it need a laser?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's homing, idiot. I mean,
No, you don't need that for homing, stupid.
Yeah, but this is the 2000s. We didn't have that shit back then.
What the fuck? She just flew! That bitch just flew! I gotta see that again.
Please, pause. Can we pause, please?
Wait, I gotta see this. That bitch flew!
Oh my god, I'm about to choke.
That bitch just flew!
Oh my god, that was beautiful. She just
I don't think that's how physics work! I never took a physics class in my life, but I don't think that's how physics work, bro. You can't just get in a ball and start flying!
Originally, I thought I saw it wrong, then I looked at it close, I was like, god damn, she is flying. I thought she landed on something, then did another backflip. I thought she landed on top of that thing and did another backflip. Then I realized no, she kept flying.
She's going!
Can we watch it again? Can we watch it again?
Look, she jumped. Right? She jumped.
Stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Stop me now.
And then she's gone!
That's so beautiful. Whoever animated that, get a pay raise, please.
Whoever thought of that, get a pay raise. Because who was like, oh yeah, what if you're spinning a ball to avoid the lasers and fly?
And she can fly.
Oh my god.
I love this concept right there.
Sonic needs to get a new job because here comes fucking Kim. Holy shit.
He'll get fly.
He
has like every ability.
This is such a bizarre episode, and I love it so much just for that clip. It shows how crazy the show can get and how out of whack the animation is sometimes. The animation sometimes just looks like somebody just never quality checked it, and I love it. It's so good. It sure makes no sense at some points, but it's always incredibly entertaining, and just watching it with friends just made it so much better. You can watch this by yourself and still be incredibly entertained, because as adults, if you're going to watch this as an adult, or maybe a little over the age of like 10, you're probably gonna notice some things and then just ask, was this show ever quality checked? This show is just so freaking good, man. Anyway, this episode was fine in like the story aspect, but it was fucking hilarious. Comb fight between Ron and Junior were really good. But yeah, that's like pretty much it. The flying bit will always be hilarious to me, and I love it to death. Okay, on to the next episode, episode 4. episode 4, Draken is back, and this time he's using nanotechnology because he wants to control things for some reason. I don't remember. It's Dr. Draken. He usually doesn't have a reason. While all of this is happening, Kim gets detention. She meets a variety of colorful characters in detention who are rather weird, but they don't really matter. But the reason she got detention is probably from one of the stupidest reasons possible. See, the teacher has a 3 tardy policy rule, so if you get 3 tardies, you get a detention. Now, Kim got the tardies mainly because she was saving the world. What the fuck is wrong with these people in this world? Are they worth the saving at this point? I mean, seriously, Kim is saving the world and you're worried about her being late? We already know she's a pretty good student. So what? How self-absorbed are you to not let a student who is actively saving the world, saving your ass, miss your class, and then proceed to chase her down, risking your own life and interfering with Kim's work, which is also endangering her? This is probably the biggest fault of the entire show. I mean, seriously, the amount of shit people give Kim when she is trying to save people. For example, Superman. People don't give Superman shit when he's saving the world because he's saving the world. Now you can argue that, oh, maybe these people are used to Kim saving the world. But then that's also flawed logic because, like I said, Superman doesn't get shit in the world, so why should Kim? Now, overall, this episode is just aggravating because of the teacher. Like, dog, you are going to die or kill one of your students. And you know what's crazy? We haven't even got to my least favorite characters, and they do this the most. And we'll talk about them soon and why I fucking hate them. They're the worst characters in the show, and it's mainly because of this. We will get to them soon. They're not funny, they're not cool, they're really dumb, horrible. Also, not to mention, this episode does some batshit crazy stuff, like Kim throws a license plate and it somehow moves like a goddamn boomerang. Like, I don't know how that works. And the only part that I can confidently say that I genuinely enjoyed watching in this episode is the Shiko and Kim fight. Did like it a lot, even though it was only for like a couple seconds, but it was still really cool. Really the only thing this episode had going for it. But anyways, I'll stop talking about this episode because it's just gonna make me more angry. Let's move on to episode 5.
How much is this damn, like, is she like in like history like AP or something? God damn.
I don't think that's how printers work, but yeah.
I don't think either.
History Alley is a cool dude. That's what that fucking paper was going to say. Wow, Kim, you truly have a way with words.
Oh my god. She's about to kick us.
Oh, that first episode was a pilot. So they don't know Shigo. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what I was confused about because I was like, why do they know Shigo?
So they don't even know her.
Why does she know? Wasn't the second episode here that still had a picture of her in her locker?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I swear to God, am I hearing things? I swear to God, she just said.
Who is she?
Who is she? You have a picture of her in your
Maybe
locker.
she can't see. Maybe it's too dark outside.
1,000 miles away from free refills.
Wait, can we see pictures in there?
Four,
Cheat codes for.
No, they got rid of it. They knew.
They
knew that their story is inconsistent.
Oh, who's that girl? We don't know. Damn.
Whoa, where? What? Who's that? Never. Wow, she's a baddie. Where'd she come from? She's wearing gray. Oh, never mind.
Considered a
Come from? No, that was the tunnel. That was the tunnel. She was wearing gray. That's not my Shigo. She was green.
episode 5 is a weird one. I would have enjoyed this episode a lot more if it weren't for Kim's parents. When I said we would be talking about the people I hate the most soon, I meant right fucking now. I hate these two so much. I don't have as big a problem with Kim's mom as I do Kim's dad, but I'll talk about that when we get there because he has his own special little episode. In this episode, Kim, Ron, and their classmates go on a skiing trip, and Bonnie, Kim's rival? I don't know. Honestly, Bonnie is a super confusing character, and to this day, I have no idea if she likes Kim or hates her. If this show was made today, Bonnie would 100% be gay or bisexual. There's no doubt in my mind. Sometimes Bonnie will act as if Kim is her friend, and other times she'll act extremely envious and vile towards Kim. For example, inviting Kim's parents on the ski trip. Obviously, Kim doesn't want them there because she knows her parents are going to embarrass her. The second I saw her parents, I was hoping they weren't going to play the trope where Kim doesn't want her parents there, and because of that, she is in the wrong. Like, excuse me? No. Kim is 100% in the right. Her parents do exactly what she fears. They begin to embarrass Kim, which leads Kim to getting overwhelmed and saying very valid things out loud. Her parents overhear and they get mad at her, which pictures Kim in the wrong. I don't know about you, but my parents embarrassed me in plenty of ways that weren't funny and still live with me to this day, because why embarrass your kids in front of their friends? It makes no sense. It's not an overreaction. Kim should be mad. You don't need to air out all your kids' whole life to random strangers that they barely know. I don't care if you assume that those are your kids' friends, because you don't know that. Some might say, oh, but their intent was good. I don't care. They should know better. What if someone starts to air out their dirty laundry? Exactly. Anyways, the actual main conflict for this show is this lady who wants to turn her plushes into real-life creatures. Her next victims are Ron, Rufus, and his teacher. They're able to stop the lady by overloading the machine, and in the end, Kim's parents save them, and they make up. And I know people are gonna be like, well, look, they made up in the end, and the parents acknowledge. Shut up! No! I hate these people. I don't care. This episode would have been so much better without them. Next episode, please.
Let's move stoppable before that Amy woman force feeds me cocoa again.
Hey, Amy.
I swear to God, if this turns in to like her parents, like she going like she's in the wrong, I'm gonna be so pissed because her parents are literally telling these people stories that they should not know. They do not need to know that.
Personal.
I was making small talk. Forgive me if that's out of bounds.
What do you mean?
We better be going, dear. We wouldn't want Kimmy
How are
to be
these
in
two not
humiliation
busy?
nation.
Oh my
heard
fucking
me?
God, they're
There's a
actually
fucking-
gonna put Kim in the wrong. Get
What
the
is
fuck
that?
out of
One
here.
of them, one of them's a brain surgeon, the other's a rocket.
These are the worst parents ever.
Oh, you can't just go.
Take the panda. Take the panda and leave.
We made
Get the
it.
vandal
Great.
away.
Now I've got to find my parents to apologize.
What do you mean? You don't need to apologize. Oh my God.
Maniac, no.
Mom, I am
I don't think she
so
ever comes
sorry.
back.
Don't worry, honey. Your father and I were teenagers once.
They didn't. She did not just fucking apologize. She did not just.
Back in my day.
Can we like
Back
get
in
this
my
out?
day.
Sometimes we forget what it's like.
Alright, we're starting to get to a trend here, but let's talk about episode 6, which is incredibly dumb. So Kim wants to buy this jacket, but she can't afford it. I don't know why her parents don't just buy it for her. It's not like they don't have the money. He's a damn rocket scientist, while she is a brain surgeon. Oh, sorry, honey, even though you save the world every day, we want you to teach you about getting a job. God, I hate these two so much. Anyways, Kim gets a job at the only place to eat in this town, and that is this taco place. Ron decides to apply as well, and while Kim doesn't succeed all too well, Ron excels. Unfortunately, though, Dr. Draken is back at it again, trying to blow up Wisconsin, which I'm pretty sure is a joke in itself. He uses the power of cheese, that's not a joke, but fails to Kim. Kim doesn't get the jacket in the end. At least she saved Wisconsin, I guess. Honestly, this episode wasn't that good. The only part I liked was Chico wearing that jacket that Kim wanted, cause girl, slay, and the cheese joke.
Funky. A cheese-covered building.
Many people assume that this is a cheese-covered
building. In fact, this marvel of dairy product architecture is 100% pure with
Dude,
and
nah.
Swiss. Hey, look, who cut the cheese? I know.
I'm working.
Question, is this some kind of cheese-covered building?
You know, you'd be surprised by how many people think that.
Can you drill made of cheese? I thought it was a cheese-covered building.
Oh, golly, no. You'd be surprised,
But the actual story was just really infuriating and dumb. Like, Kim's greatest enemies are the people she saves. Honestly, I'm surprised Kim never turned into a villain, because holy shit, I would have immediately if the people I were saving were these ungrateful rats. Okay, episode 7 just wasn't it. We get introduced to a new villain who is Scottish and really likes golf. He steals this device that will turn the whole world into grass, and not like the smoke and grass.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
I don't give a fuck about reefer.
No, grass that you would see on a golf court. I'm serious. He does this because he was kicked out of places where he wanted to play golf, and with the intent to never get kicked out again, he wants to turn the whole world to grass. While it's pretty funny at first, it makes like no logical sense. I'm really trying to let some of this shit go because, again, it's a kid's show, but this guy is going to kill the world because he wants to play golf. He clearly has some form of money to make exploding golf balls, so why not invest that into your own golf course? Like, this guy is needlessly evil. And oh yeah, there's this other guy who is assisting Kim and Ron, but for the most part, he's just as useful as a bag of bricks. I don't really like this episode. It just felt very convoluted from the get-go, and the new character that they tried to introduce just didn't stick the landing. He was just super duper annoying.
Literally, that fucking thing's gonna have the shits for days. Holy shit. What the fuck is this? Damn! What if anybody just stumbled there? What if she didn't walk on that? What the fuck? The person who planned this is not very smart.
Welcome to where? To the Global Justice Network.
What the fuck? Why are you under a Del Taco?
I'm Dr. Director, the head of GG.
No one would expect that.
This is Will Do, our #1 agent. Follow me.
Will Do.
That's a horrible name.
This is Professor.
Oh, I get it. Because Kim Possible will do. Ron Stop. That's wow, genius.
Them all? To quote our previous squad captain, no big. I'm not previous yet. Thanks to Bonnie, we got new uniforms. Aren't they that
Raymond, can you see these
Those
now?
do look together.
Can you see these now?
Yes, they're orange and blue.
Close enough. They're not blue, but
The purple, I kill myself.
they're purple. Yes, this.
But you know what the
part's
thing
purple.
is? After this, the next 2 episodes, it's probably gonna be the old uniform.
Yeah, this is also like it's like an orange, just yellow, and I got the red stuff.
Shut the hell up.
So for these last couple of episodes, you know, they've been pretty bad. Honestly, they were not entertaining. They had some of the most infuriating characters, and they just weren't good. But now let's talk about an actual good episode, which is episode 8, and it has to be my favorite out of the episodes we talked about so far. And I'm not joking here. This episode has the classic trope of switching bodies, and I usually don't really even like this trope because of how overdone it is, but this show does it in a really good way, an entertaining way. Ron and Kim switch bodies, and they both explore the struggle of living through each other's bodies. Kim has to deal with Ron's bullying, while Ron has to deal with Kim's very extracurricular life. This is pretty common when it comes to this trope, but what I like about it is that it's actually reasonable. There's no like extra things like that they do, like Ron doesn't just learn everything Kim learns. Kim has to perform a cheer dance, and of course Ron isn't gonna learn it in like 2 days, so Kim steps in during the performance as Ron. The only thing weird about this is how nobody questions it. But in this world, this is probably like the most normal thing. I do like how Kim isn't afraid to show off her skills, even in Ron's body. It's nice the show finally acknowledges how much responsibility Kim has on her shoulders. Kim literally beats up the bullies for Ron because, you know, she doesn't take it like that. They don't just become one another, which I think a lot of the switching bodies trope does, where, oh, I understand now, I have to be like this person. No, fuck that, that's boring. And I'm glad it's like they're pretty much the same person, just in different bodies. Also, the jokes in this episode are so good. Another great thing is that Chico and Draken's dynamic shines here, and it's just really funny. So Draken steals like a giant weapon, and only because it's like top secret, and I really like how realistic that is. Like, people steal stuff that looks expensive all the time. They don't know what it does, and it's just really good. Okay, episode 9. I was actually very excited for this episode because in the intro we see these killer robots, and I was really excited to see what they were going to do with them. Where they're going to be mimicking robots that revolted. There's just so many ideas in the realm of the show that they can do and really nail. But you know what they decide to do? They decide to make this whole episode about Kim's dad, and the robots are there to kill him because the robots are made by Dr. Draken, and apparently Dr. Draken knew Kim's father at some point. The whole episode is so dumb and boring, and the conflict is so repetitive. Kim's dad is a rocket scientist, but he is probably the dumbest man on Earth. Rufus is probably smarter than him. Ron is also extremely obnoxious in the episode because he thinks it's a good idea for him to get captured instead of Kim's dad, even though Ron has no skills whatsoever in combat, and he just wants to show off his disguise skills. The only thing I liked about this episode is Dr. Draken, who steals the show entirely because of his comedy, which he does so well. Of course, I hate this episode. It's about the dad, and I already shared my disdain for Kim's parents, and I'm so sad this episode was wasted on this plot because I really wanted to see the babies to go somewhere, and unfortunately, they didn't. Episode 10 is definitely one of my favorites, purely because of how absurd it is. Kim needs to protect his prince from getting assassinated by this group of knights. The prince is incredibly fruity, and I love it. He's not fit to rule, so he avoids it, and he's just not a very good king. But he runs for student president, and somehow wins? I don't know how he is so famous compared to Kim, especially since he isn't from a very popular nation, and Kim saves the world every day. But I digress. It kind of just shows the stupidity of this universe. Nation Wallace is from is so unknown that somehow the knights there to assassinate him make it past customs when the customs officer doesn't even know the nation exists.
Is this a country? I never heard of it.
You will.
Why he's stabbing it? No! You're the worst customs guard ever!
Maybe we
like, that's literally the thing you're trained.
Bite your tongue!
You're literally trained to make sure you don't let anybody in with a phony passport. Sometimes they use fake countries. And he went, oh, a fake country? Come on in! This episode aired less than a year after 9/11. Honestly, I really love this episode. Based on entertainment factor, the jokes landed. A lot of the jokes weren't even intended, but they did land. Wallace was great. He's just fruity, and he's living his life, and I wish him the best. Okay, episode 11 is a doozy, but not in the ways you might think. Episode 11 is the bane of my existence because this episode was impossible to find. We were watching these episodes in not the most legal of methods. So when the episode didn't work, we tried to find a different website, and that website is Dailymotion. God, I hate Dailymotion. We tried other websites, but it only worked here. I've always hated Dailymotion, and it's good to see it hasn't changed. I remember watching Legend of Korra because the person pitched their voices up. I thought the person who voiced Korra voiced everybody, and that's not a joke. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, sorry for the quality of this episode. I promise your screen isn't burned in. It's just Dailymotion. On to the plot of this episode.
So the father and son duo are back, senior, and junior. Junior wants to do his own plan, and so senior says, okay, fine. So junior wants to make everybody dance. So he steals the cast of FNAF and turns them into cage strippers. I wish I was joking, and maybe this is why this episode was impossible to find. Oh, and Kim is supposed to be coaching her brother's soccer team, but she practically abuses them. Anyways, this episode was just really weird. Junior only sets up this club because he wants people to dance. And I understand this was before the hellspawn that is TikTok. Doing on implants. But come on, man. There has to be better ways than this. And you're telling me these two billionaires and Junior's father can't loan him some money to open up his own club? Like, what? I found this episode really just all over the place. Maybe I'm just mad for having to search for this episode for like 20 minutes, but I didn't particularly enjoy this episode. The Stripping FNAF cast was cool though. Hey guys, this is just a quick thing. So this is episode 12 now. I don't remember the name of the episode. Just a quick thing. My mood is going to change exponentially in these next sections because I was sick in the other one. So, if I sound a lot happier, I promise you, I was fine in the first part. I was just sick, and now I'm better. So, enjoy, I guess. Episode 12 is a weird one. To an extent, I do like it, but it has some issues. So basically, a big fight match is going on, and this bookie wants to join, but he gets made fun of for being too small. So he calls upon the god Anubis.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
Who the hell is Anubis? Who the hell is Anubis? Why they couldn't spell Anubis the correct way, I have no idea. Anyways, the bookie becomes a literal furry, and Karen pretty much saves the day with Ron. What I really like about this episode is actually the character design. I'm no furry, but I really do love the Jackal's design. We also meet one of my favorites, Monique Girl Saleh. All I gotta say. Kind of unfortunate we never see the Jackal again in this season because I actually like him, but I do see how it could be hard to attach him into a plotline outside of wrestling. What I don't like about this episode is the story in general. It feels incredibly boring, and the Jackal's point for fighting is also kind of stupid. Why is he mad at his two fighters who have brought him money for years? Resorting to call upon a god seems kind of extreme. Relax, buddy. You're not Moon Knight. I would like the Jackal to return, but maybe as someone else. So in this episode, we get introduced to a pretty famous Kim Possible villain, whose name is Monkey Fist. Monkey Fist is this guy who turns himself into a monkey. And in this episode, Monkey wants the power so he can learn Kung Fu. I don't know why he doesn't just watch a couple of videotapes, but I digress. Overall, I actually like this episode. I won't be able to say that for the next Monkey Fist episode, but we will get there when we get there. So Kim can't be there to stop Monkey Fist because she's hanging out with her cousin, so Wade makes a hologram. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought the hologram was gonna stay with the cousin, so I'll give the show that for surprising me, even though it doesn't really make a lot of logical sense. In the end, since Kim couldn't actually arm Monkey Fist, Ron stops him even though he has a fear of monkeys. That goes back to that OSHA violation of a camp. He gains the power Monkey Fist sought after and defeats him with it. Like I said, I do like this episode, even though I've come to dislike some of the episodes more focused on Ron, mainly because of how repetitive and similar they become. I think every Ron-focused episode just becomes really boring for me. I don't dislike Ron, but I don't think he's in my top 5 favorite characters of the show. Sorry, I know a lot of people are mad, I know a lot of people like Ron, and that's perfectly fine, but the jokes in this episode do land for the most part, and I did get a chuckle out of me here and there. So this is a Halloween episode. Now, Reymond was actually really excited for this one, while I was a bit nervous. On Disney Channel, holiday episodes can be hit or miss, and honestly I can't tell if I like this episode or not. It has a great concept, but I feel like it's restricted because it's a Halloween episode. So Kim gets this wristband stuck on her arm, and this band turns into a pretty cool suit of armor, and the more she lies, the more the suit grows, I guess. Obviously Kim doesn't like this, but she also can't stop lying. Dr. Draken wants the suit for himself, and honestly, he and Chigo are really the stars of this episode. Kim bamboozles her parents and Ron, and while yes, Kim is in the wrong for lying to them, maybe her parents shouldn't have let themselves be captured by Shego and Draken. At first, I actually really liked the suit of armor, but as more of it grew, I liked it a whole lot less. Anyways, Shego and Kim fight, and I love that Chico's costume is just the black Zorro mask. Oh yeah, the golf guy is there. Anyways, Kim admits to all her lies, which stops the suit, and for some reason, everyone but the dad is in handcuffs, and Draken just let him talk to Kim. Draken, Chico, and the golf guy all then get arrested by the police, who finally show up for once. What is this episode? Also, Kim should have kept that armor. You know how useful that would have been? But no, this episode is really just a letdown. So much potential wasted, so many plot holes open, and more scenes with the parents. So episode 15 feels like an episode of Batman, but not like a good episode. Like, this is a good, entertaining episode, but the amount of Batman-esque tactics is crazy. This episode is like if Batman had no plan and just said fuck it. So there's this crazy stunt woman who fakes stunts for TV, which is honestly very meta for today. So Kim thinks that this woman is going to hurt herself, so she intervenes with her jetpack? This never gets explained, by the way. She just has a jetpack now. So the stunt woman gets angry at Kim because she basically just exposed her. So the stunt woman kidnaps people and puts them on a broken roller coaster. The kidnapped is this guy named Rick, who is the most manipulative jackass. Basically, the side plot is that Ron joined the newspaper and he started a rumor between Kim and Rick that they were dating. Then Rick begins to guilt Kim into dating him, or else they'll lose the big game. I have no idea why they are teaching this in a kids show, but this leads to the parents actually giving somewhat good advice. Also, can we talk about how unsafe these rides are? Holy shit, how was this place ever opened? Anyways, Kim defeats this crazy woman by performing tactics inside of a Batman game. I honestly like this villain a lot. Maybe it's because she adds a lot of risk that I think the show lacks, but unfortunately, we never see her again. Instead, we'll just get more episodes with Junior and Senior. This episode has a bad message for kids, but at least it was entertaining. Alright, episode 16 has another cliche plot. Kim gets cloned by Dr. Draken, but honestly, I really liked this episode. I thought it was hella entertaining. This show is able to take novelty concepts and spin it in its own way that's actually entertaining. Shego hates the idea of being cloned, so she goes on vacation, and it's honestly a highlight. Also, Kim's style gets replicated, and it's sort of a way of cloning that I like the show does. Yes, Kim does get actually cloned, but she also gets involuntarily cloned. For some reason, the clones are weak to soda. Wait a minute. Anyways, Dr. Draken gets thwarted by Kim, and we get this funny ending scene. Why does Kim let Draken get away? I don't know. Will this be the first time? No. Even though this episode uses a classic trope, it does it really well, and it's in its own style. Episode 17 has to be the most all-over-the-place episode ever. I am almost positive nobody watched this episode back before it was set to air. So Kim has to babysit her little brothers. I don't know if I mentioned them, they're kind of pointless. Anyways, Kim uses the plane to get to the island to stop Dr. Draken. Pretty normal so far, but it gets much worse. The plane ride is an absolute disaster, and my god, the animation is so slick but so sloppy at the same time. Dr. Draken is using this mind control device, and for some reason Chico keeps switching between no apron and apron throughout the whole episode. Do you see what I mean when I say no one quality check these episodes? Kim eventually gets mind control and wears Chico's fit. Ron and Kim's brothers save the day because these two are smart but also incredibly dumb. Honestly, these two don't even have enough of a personality for me to analyze them or even like them. Chico was also hilarious in this episode, and honestly every episode. Oh yeah, Kim's parents are also being irresponsible again with the safety of their children, but at this point, I sound like a broken record, so I'm gonna go on to the next episode. So if you can't tell, I'm not the biggest fan of these two. Every time they appear, I kind of expect a mediocre episode, and my expectations were sadly met. So these two are getting kicked out of this billionaires club, and they want to get back at them. While this is happening, everyone is obsessed with this personality quiz, and Kim and Junior are a perfect match. The whole episode just makes you think, why do I care? Like, these guys are billionaires? And the personality quiz was a bit intriguing, but it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't interesting, and Kim was obsessed with it for a bit, but it didn't interfere the plot that much. Oh, and we took the quiz, by the way, for those of you that are wondering. Are you guys ready to be disappointed again? So we haven't seen Monkey Fist for a while, have we? Well, he's back and in a mediocre episode. Monkey sees a premonition that this particular monkey is going to give him ultimate power, or something like that. I don't know, and I honestly don't really care. I hate this episode. Like I said, this is a boring episode, and maybe it was the Kim Possible fatigue, because Reymond and I were there for a while watching the rest of Kim Possible, but I also think this episode is just boring. This monkey is going to go into space, and Monkey Fist thinks that this monkey is the key to everything. Kim's dad forces Kim to go to his work, and I'm not even gonna get into it. We are so close. Anyways, the monkeys eventually go to space, and Ron conquers his fear of monkeys. Also, Kim seems to have a photographic memory because she just learns how to fucking land an aircraft, even though that makes no goddamn sense. And that was the episode. It was just super mediocre. They try to do a joke at the end where the prophecy wasn't fully said, but it doesn't work, and you already know it's not going to go anywhere, because no matter what happens in the show, the episodes never feel connected and never go anywhere. In this episode, Draken's henchmen are so weak compared to the other henchmen, he goes after this device that makes henchmen stronger. Ron gets his hands on this device as well, and starts to rely on it too much because he doesn't believe himself to be a man after he found out that his bar mitzvah certificate wasn't signed. I'm gonna save it when I really want to say right now later on in the episode, because then I'll have more backing for it. After Draken upgrades his men, he now goes after a device called a pan-dimensional force inducer. It's just another dumb weapon that Draken wants to steal. Ron finally realizes he's a man and takes off with the ring, or at least tries to. When the device goes down the bloody air vent, the ring is never used again, by the way. This is so dumb. These last couple of episodes really diminish Ron as a character for me. He doesn't consider himself a man when he finds out his certificate isn't signed, but that can easily be written off as with a simple call to the rabbi. And also, what's the difference after certificate is signed and before? Nothing. I guess it's supposed to be a metaphor, but it's really dumb. Ron doesn't ever use the ring again when he probably should. It's not like the ring is a crutch or it's hurting him or even becoming an addiction. Hell, it's not even a problem for Kim. Kim never complains about it that much. Why did they villainize this ring? It makes no sense with the amount of cool and useful gadgets that they get that just throw out eventually. Now, I wouldn't be defending this ring and defending the other gadgets that they use, but they never give any downside to these things. Seriously, this world is hella overpowered, but it's never utilized, and only utilized for like 2 seconds. It's a spy show. Come on, man. Everyone, I come with unfortunate news. The last episode is the most boring episode in the season. No big final, just pure mediocrity. This guy is a hijacker, and he hijacks all of these store systems because he hates working in retail, and Kim is worked up about having knockoff pants. What's crazy is that this episode has a good setup. Like, I would have much rather seen these two get their teeth kicked in by Kim than this loser. There's not much I can say about this episode, it's just boring. Granted, me and Reymond at this point had watched 4 episodes back to back, and that Kim Possible fatigue was really setting in. I kind of wish for more for this episode final, but no. But hey, there's like 100 episodes in the next season. Kim Possible is a show filled with highs and lows. A glance at the show may make it seem like it's an above average kids show, but the amount of holes are abundant. I do think this show aged well, but some aspects, such as the animation and drawing, or even some of the episode's plot, aged like milk. I do recommend this show for old-time viewers, but don't expect the magic you first experienced as a kid, which is something I know is really hard to replicate as you get older, but it's certainly not impossible, and it has been done with other shows around this era. I really wanted to end the video off like this because it's been a while since I've actually recorded anything. for a YouTube video because I've been working on this video for so long and tried to work on the other ones. I haven't had time, unfortunately. But I wanted to end off this video like this because I found out some things while researching and just gradually looking on the internet for a bit. If you don't know, the person who plays Kim Possible is this person, you know what, right here. You might recognize her, but most of you might not. She is the founder and CEO behind the company called Podco. If you don't know what Podco is, well, you probably know the Ned Declassified podcast. This podcast has been in some controversy as of late due to the fact that a lot of its hosts are either racist, ungrateful, and just generally delusional. They complain that Ned's Declassified hasn't gotten a reboot, but Spider-Man has gotten thousands. An iconic character that has lasted for more than 50 plus years has gotten reboots 1,000 times compared to a kid show that barely anybody remembers. The mathing! I genuinely did not see this coming. This is probably one of the biggest plot twists for me. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? Why couldn't she just become a doctor like the rest of the Disney Channel fallen off cast when they realized acting probably wasn't going to work for them? For example, the person who plays the main character in Good Luck Charlie, the person who played Harper in Wizards of Waverly Place, an honorable mention, Hannah Tell from Life is Strange, who plays Max Caulfield, is now a doctor and only returned for Max. Thank you, Hannah. You did a fantastic job. Thankfully, none of these people started a stupid podcast company that makes stupid podcasts. This video took extremely long to make, and I found out so much about it, but man, is Kim Possible just something else. I truly recommend it if you really want to go on a bizarre ride. Watch it. But it is definitely lost its magic over the years, and finding out this stuff about Kim Possible's voice actress is a little bit, hurt. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you did like the video, please leave a like, it'll be much appreciated. I also want to give a big shout out to my friends Jimmy and Raymond. You will see them in upcoming videos, but they were real G's for watching this with me, and I know I would have gone very, 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 very insane if I was doing this alone, so thank you guys so much. Anyways, next video is going to be long, enjoy it, and should come out relatively sooner than this one, and hopefully won't take 3 months of my life. Oh god, please don't take 3 months of my life!
Another water in the night, let me paint the view, color the town with my light. For every moment shared with you, night and in the day, you're never fully gone, going to be back again, until the coming of the dawn.